Hey guys, it's Megan Aller, Sales Executive with First American Title Denver, and I'm here to give you a preview of some of the sneaky stuff that I've been working on for you. I've had a lot of questions lately about how it's different in the inside of the city versus on the outside of the city, and where things might feel a little bit different. I have the pleasure of traveling all the way from the north end of Denver all the way down to Parker, and so anecdotally the stories that I hear is, gosh, that just doesn't feel like my area. So what I wanted to do is start to put together some of those maps that show you the feeling about here's the overall Metro Denver view versus where you're seeing in your regions. And so I found some neat technology that I can use in order to color code some zip code maps for you. And this is the first iteration. Any feedback that you have, I would love to hear. Now, the way that I'm looking at this information is this is for attached and detached residential. It's important that I combine both of them because I want to make sure that I have a large enough bandwidth within each zip code of data to share with you so that it shows an accurate trend. Smaller sets of data points just don't report very well, and it makes the trend get herky-jerky all over the place. So what we're looking at here, this is supply in months by zip code. So as you know, we've been trending towards an extreme seller's market now for 7 years. However, whenever I'm on the outside of the city, typically what I hear is, gosh, that just doesn't feel like my market. And so what I've done is if it's blue, that means that it's less than 1.6 months worth of inventory, which was the average here in Metro Denver in August of 2019. And if it's red, it's more than that. And what you'll see is that primarily around those areas where we're seeing enhanced new construction or higher price points via the outside of the city limits, but then also into that Northwest Denver corridor, that we're seeing increased month supply of inventory. And in the most challenged place down on the very south end of town, we still only have 4.8 months worth of inventory versus some of those areas that are on the west side of town or out northeast where we have much lower inventory than 1 month worth of inventory. Okay, so that tells you a little bit about what bidding wars can look like and how competitive a market is. The more blue it is, the more competitive. The more red it is, that means that the buyer might have enhanced negotiating power. Continuing on, looking at additional zip codes, this one talks about the percent of closed to list price ratios. Where are you most likely to encounter a bidding war or multiple offers? As of last month, the average percent of closed to list price ratio was 99.2% of their last asking price. So anything higher than that would indicate that it's it trends more towards the seller's favor in negotiating the price versus red areas the buyer might have more negotiating power. Again, the western corridor, looking over at Jefferson County in West Denver, has some really great opportunities for sellers to still sell at premium prices. A lot of desirability in some of those communities, as well as out northeast. Okay, we're seeing the most amount of enhanced seller opportunity at that point. Now, the areas in red, that's where buyers have more negotiating power at this point. And keep in mind that all of these numbers change seasonally. Okay, so in the areas that are red, we can expect to see that buyers might be asking for more concessions in some of those areas. We can also look at the percentage of units that are making price reductions. As of last month, it ended up being about 40% of all the listings in Metro Denver had to make a price reduction. So if we see more price reductions than the average, those are the zip codes that appear in red versus the ones that appear in blue. And again, trending up towards that south end of town into central and northwest Denver, we're seeing more price reductions happen in those areas versus the blue areas where we're seeing fewer price reductions. Finally, the average percent of the price reduction, so how large are those price reductions? Average as of last month, the average price reduction was about 4.3% to 4.5% of a price reduction. Areas in blue have lower price reductions and areas in red have higher price reductions than that. Now, stay tuned as I continue to work forward on all of this stuff. I'm trying to build a historical data set to show you how this changes over time, along with all of the different metrics that we're consistently measuring. So stay tuned for future releases in the upcoming months. If you have any requests or feedback about each one of these different graphs and how I might be able to improve that, I'm all ears as I continue to beta test the products that I'm working on. Again, thank you so much for continuing to watch. We certainly appreciate your business, and I hope that we'll get to see you guys again soon at our closing tables. Take care.